So, hello everybody, my name is Aram and this is Alex, and the two of us, we would actually like to answer a question we got on YouTube. When is the right point of time where the upper body pivots backwards? So, the overall idea at the catch is you want to transfer force through the shoulders and the trunk just sustains force. The most important thing is to keep your shoulders and hands at the same height. This is a common technique error I see with many people who sit in the bar row for the first time. Just relax for a second. If you move your handles up, there is nothing on the outside, no blade. In the boat, there's the blade. The deeper the blade goes, the more resistance you feel. But it's not resistance that propels the boat. There's no horizontal drive, it's only vertical. It's killing fish, but it's not accelerating the boat. So here at the catch, okay, hold on to the handle. Here at the catch, you have to make sure that your hands are stabilized before you start to apply force with your legs. It's very simple. And then you should also stabilize your shoulders. If you pivot too early, your entire shoulder hand motion goes upwards and therefore you lose connection. It's very simple. And this is why a lot of people have a hard time to find resistance at the catch. Okay, and then as you continue the drive, slow motion. Okay, stop. Somewhere here, and this is where the variability starts. Some athletes have to pivot earlier, some have to pivot later. Now that you pivot upward, you gotta make sure that you do this at a point of time where your shoulders and your hands don't go up. Now they will always slightly go up, but shouldn't be too much. Another factor is the following one. The quadriceps, the muscle you have right there, and the muscle on the back side here, they're actually contradicting. So which means if you use this one, you cannot use this one. Or if you do, you're not going to move. So let me explain one simple principle, but many people are not aware of it. Can you go right there? Okay, stop. If now you're using your quadriceps in order to, accelerate the boat. But what happens if you start to pivot? This muscle group right there, which is responsible for the hip extension, moving up. This chain is exactly the opposite in terms of force direction as this muscle is. Which means if you use both of these muscles, you work against each other. They work against each other. This is not propelling the boat forward. And this is what many people don't understand. You're using basically two muscles which are actually fighting against each other, but none of them are propelling the boat. So the idea is, as you use the quadriceps mainly, okay, go along, okay. Now the quadriceps is in a position where it's just in a very good angle. This probably can do 300 kilos from this angle on a leg press, very easily. So now you can start to add the trunk and use this muscle chain right there, because it's easy for this muscle to keep on going, and this muscle chain right there helps you to continue and keep the force curve up. I hope this is somewhat clear. If not, just go back, watch it again. It's very logical. So again, once more to the catch, and then we're done. You have your quadriceps and the gluteus, and basically these are opposing muscles in the way they function. So again, at the catch, and the first part of the leg drive is mainly work with the quadriceps. So the quadriceps is the opposing muscle to this muscle chain, which consists of the glutes and the hip extension and back muscle chain. And right now, if you would actually pivot at this point of time, your hands would go up, so you'd lose connection on the blade. And secondly, you start to activate this muscle chain, which is a contradicting force to the quadriceps. So all you do is just you make yourself tired, and this is why most athletes have tired legs, but arms and shoulders are not that tired at all, but they should be more. So when you have only tired legs, it means they work against each other. This muscle group versus this muscle group plus the rest. So my advice, quadriceps only for the start, okay, slow motion leg drive. And as the angle becomes better, now you pivot backwards and you use the entire muscle chain, and this part of the muscle is not overwhelmed anymore. Okay, logisch, Alex?
Ja, komplett logisch.
Schon, oder? Yeah. I'm going to ask Alex, he's going to be my rowing chameleon, so I'm going to ask him to row different styles. His first job is going to be to pivot very early, then he's going to have a medium pivot over the center of the stroke. Then it's going to have a very late pivot, and you will see the disadvantages of both extremes. Okay, Alex, if you could start just a very early pivot. Okay, you guys saw the force curves. Not bad actually, but it wasn't really an early pivot. What usually people consider to be an early pivot is when people start to catch, do the catch with a pivot of the upper body, and this is when it starts to become a problem. This was still okay. I think it's on the border to being inefficient, but it's still okay. A truly extreme pivot at the catch starts. Can you go to the catch real quick? Now, I don't want you to roll like this, but I just want to show how it works. This is when a lot of people feel a play at the catch on the buy roller because they're just dig the blade too deep into the water. So you would pivot the upper body right now, the hip. Let me show you that. Exactly. The problem is now the hip is stable and the shoulder moves, and this is when the hands go up. And this is when you have a play at the catch on the buy roller, and this is not effective at all. And this is what is a too early pivot. Alex, could you roll like this, just 5 strokes? It's going to be ugly to see, but... 4. What usually happens here is that you have a huge peak at the beginning and gradually the stroke just fades away. The second extreme we're going to do right now is just hugely long leg drive, and people want to roll like legs only, work on your legs, more leg drive, and completely forget about the combination of leg drive and trunk work. So Alex is going to have a hugely long leg drive, completely forget about the trunk, and pivot very late. As you can see on the force curves now, the problem is that the force curves, they pick up first during the leg drive, and then as the trunk comes in so late, you have a loss of force transfer through the body, and you have to regain the force with a separated pivot momentum of the trunk. So this would be too late, and the effect is that you actually lose momentum during the stroke. Now the boat becomes quicker, here the air fin and the magnetic flywheel becomes quicker, and you just lose it all. The boat runs away from you and you try to follow up somehow, too late, lost. Your stroke ends about here. Now the optimum time when to pivot is different, and what I want to achieve personally is during race pace, not during steady state. During race pace, I want a bit of a plateau over the center. Now what I'm going to do right now is just going to put my phone, which I'm using as display here. In case you don't know how it works, you can use any Android device with the Bluetooth sensors. So we have a strain gauge and an angle sensor on the left and the same on the right side. We measure everything separately. This is the only way you can actually get data accurately. Okay, Alex, if you could try to roll race pace and make sure you have a nice plateau at the catch. Alex's next task is going to be to vary a bit. So during race pace, we want to try to have an early pivot of the upper body, a medium and a late pivot of the upper body, and see how the force curves change. And we're going to ask Alex later on what's the difference in terms of perception, how it feels.
Die erste und letzte Variante fühlen sich sehr viel anstrengender an. Also das kann man nicht lange so durchhalten, meiner Meinung nach.
What I want to convey with this video is very simply that there is one optimum way to move, and if Alex, who has a different body build than I have, if we sit in the same boat, we have to move differently. We have to look differently in order to influence the boat the same way. And the overall objective always is to keep that plateau, and that's the influence on the boat. This is why force curves on land in a real cockpit is the only thing that's going to help you to become fast. you don't get that live feedback on the water. So now that Alex had the live feedback, he could actually adjust. I just put it in a different way. Help me grow that channel, and I'm looking forward to see you next time. Have a good day. Bye-bye.